A truly evil person would have just, yes, absorb me and we can smite our foes together. Hail adventurer, let's talk about a bit my favorite book of all time, the book about darkness. And there's a chapter here that tells you how to create villains. And yesterday I made a public appearance, my second public appearance actually, in a local gaming store called Paladin Books and Games. If you're ever in Puerto Rico, like, hit it up. It's a really good gaming store. The people there are so effing nice. So we talked about creating villains, creating your own epic villain, and they asked me for, you know, examples that I have, and I want to share those examples with you. So this book tells you types of villains, right? And it tells you the boorish dog, the tyrant, the scheming liar, the psychopath, the sophisticate, the misguided fool, the monster, the unexpected villain. And I don't have a villain for each one, though. I think I'm gonna take it upon myself to now every time I run a game, I run a different type of villain. But one of my favorite ones was a misguided fool that I made. A misguided fool is somebody that doesn't know they're doing evil, or they're doing evil for really stupid reasons, or they're just really stupid and can't realize that what they're doing is bad, or that they don't really care that what they're doing is bad. They're just going along with it. They're a bit apathetic about it, so they just go along with it and just, like, they're fools. They don't really understand and comprehend how bad it is what they're doing. And in the last Pathfinder game I ran, Mirror Mirror, it's a campaign setting I'm designing. You can find I'll have a link somewhere where I have what's the word for that? The summary of the campaign, because after every session I would have a video talking about what happened in the session. It's about 10 sessions long. I think the campaign was only like 10 sessions long or something like that, but I have a video for each session, so you can check that out. Now the villain there, he was introduced the first session. They saw a man with a really big book on his back, and they questioned him, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just researching things. I'm just a traveling bard. I'm writing things." And that was right. That was true. He was a traveling bard. Now, what they didn't know is that the book that he had in his bag was basically the Necronomicon. And he was studying the book, and he was experimenting with ancient incantations he found in the book. Now, as the game went on, they found out that he was using the book to brand people with a tattoo, and that brand would cause them to do whatever he wanted them to do, and they would completely forget what they did after they did it. The players ended up hating this guy. His name was Al-Hasred or something like that. It's basically, I took the name from the guy that in the Cthulhu mythos, the guy that found the Necronomicon in our day and age. But the players never knew his name, because this guy, he didn't go around, you know, "I am such and such, I will conquer the world." No, he was just going from place to place, just experimenting with spells and stuff like that. But he experimenting on the players, and the players, you know, hated that. It's like, "How dare you touch us? That is disgusting. We hate you and you need to die." So they ended up calling him the Black Warlock, because they thought this guy had immense power. And in a way he did, but it was just the book. It wasn't really him. He was just a medium, so the book can, you know, exert its evil on the world. So the game went on. They kept on fighting the guy. They encountered the guy, but he was always too far away for them to do anything about it. Or one of them was being controlled. But he had a lot of lackeys. He combined the brother of one of the characters with the villain of one of the characters into one monster that they had to fight. That was a really good session. The player hated that because, how dare he do that to my brother. But the players ended up hating this guy because this guy got very, very personal with all of the players, and they hated his guts, and he needed to die, but they needed to know what they could do to beat him because he's too powerful. They ended up in a place where very few people went in the setting, and there they found a hidden lab with a sword that apparently the sword had a soul trapped inside of it. And through research, they found out that all they had to do was to break the sword to release the soul. They break the sword, the soul comes out, it reforms into a body, and he reveals himself that he is the teacher of the Black Warlock. And they're like, "Oh, you're his teacher. We must kill you." It's like, no, because I'm just here. I do research. Sure, a lot of the research I do is not really nice, but all that lives in this side of the world is undead. So I'm researching on undead. So I don't take human guinea pigs, living guinea pigs. I don't, because it's too much of a hassle. Then people come here and try to stop me. The guy, he was evil aligned, but he wasn't. I want to take over the world evil. It's more like I want to experiment with evil, magic evil, but not really do anything much with it. Like maybe invent my own spells, then go to wizard college and teach my spells that have my name on it. That's the type of evil he really was. He was only evil because he played around with evil spells. If it wasn't for that, he wouldn't have been evil. More along the lines of chaotic neutral than anything, or even then like just true neutral. Yeah, even then just true neutral. Now, he reveals that the Black Warlock he stole the book. Him and the Black Warlock, the teacher and the Black Warlock, they found a book in that area, and the Ashen Lands, as they're called in the campaign setting, and they start, studying from it. But eventually, he told his students, "You can't study from it. The power is gonna corrupt you. You are not prepared to really read this. You're gonna be swayed by the book. The book is intelligent." And so he studied by himself, and eventually one day his student was like, "You know what? No, I want to study from the book." He trapped this teacher inside of a sword. Now the funny thing is that the teacher told the players, he stabbed me with the sword and he thought that the sword killed me. That's how much of an idiot my pupil was, that he took a soul-stealing sword that steals the soul and body, and he thought he had completely obliterated me. And didn't even dispose of the sword. He just left the sword in the floor. Because the guy is an idiot. The guy didn't know. He just took the book and went away. After that, this is the backstory of the character that the characters don't really know about. Because again, they never really asked them. They didn't really care. This guy went around the north of the setting a little bit. He was still a bard, so he would one of the daughter of an archduke, and he was using her to get more money to fund his research a little bit more, but he actually ended up falling in love with her. Then he used the book to give her powers and stuff, powers over ice. She ended up actually being more powerful than the bard, and the fight against her was way harder than the fight against him. Like, the players left the town when they were supposed to fight her, and she was defeated off camera by NPCs because it was on a time frame, and part of the game was the area is safe. If the players want to leave, they can. The whole north of the continent is gonna be uninhabitable for about 5 years because of all the monsters, but after a while the monsters are just gonna die of hunger, and then people can just go repopulate the north normally. It wasn't a big threat. Even the teacher of the bard told him, this is a self-correcting problem. I know my pupil is creating monsters, but he doesn't know how to control them. It's just a matter of time before one of the monsters accidentally kills them, because the monsters are mindless anyways. So it's just a matter of time before one of the monsters accidentally kills him, or he casts a spell. He casts a spell and botches the casting and ends up killing himself. It's a self-correcting problem. After all the monsters are released, it's not gonna last long. If an army comes in, it'll last even less. But in 5 years, the place will be hospitable again. That was part of the fun of it, because it's a game unlike they had played before, because they're used to me running very high epic games, and I like running high epic games. But this time I was like, you know what? No, I wanna do self-contained problem that can correct itself if the players enact. Because I was planning for the players to just go south, which is something they said, you know what, this guy is giving us too much trouble. Let's just go south and forget about it. Two of the other players said, no, we're already here. It's our hometown. Let's save it. And he was like, fine. But they had fun. That was the most important thing. So this guy, this bumbling idiot, is going around from city to city, experimenting with new spells on new people. He controls people to release their inner inhibitions, make people jealous and stuff like that. But he doesn't really know how he's casting the spells and what they do. He just casts them and see what happens. But he can never replicate the results. The only spell he could replicate was the mind control spell that had the nasty side effect that it would leave a brand that could be traced back to him, and it didn't last long. It only lasted for a couple of hours. He never found a way to make it permanent. Besides that, he found a spell to combine creatures that would die out in a couple of days anyways, because their bodily composition couldn't handle that, and another spell that would summon monsters, and that spell would just work. But the monsters, again, they were mindless. Even then, he also didn't cast that one properly, because that was the idea behind this guy. I always make these big bombastic monsters and bosses and bad guys that the players will always remember because how evil they were, or because how much power they had. But I want them to remember this guy as a stupid idiot who didn't know what he was doing. He was just in the right place at the right time, but ended up pissing off the wrong people. Because if the players hadn't done that against, the NPCs were gonna rush in, because again, I had a timetable for all of that anyways. But they were scared. I think that's where I succeeded in what I wanted to do, because throughout the whole campaign, the guy was started out. He was just a bard, no archetypes, just straight up bard. A lot of use magic device, that was it. I don't know, he was a Sandman bard, because he had sneak attack as well, but it was very, very, very little sneak attack damage what he was able to deal, because he was a Sandman bard, and those don't get that much sneak attack. Now, they were scared because they thought this guy was powerful. They thought this guy was terrible because of all the things he left in his wake. But all the things he left in his wake was just accidents. Happy little accidents for him, but accidents nonetheless. They got to the end of the campaign. They were going up to a giant pyramid and what appears to be like in the Mountains of Madness sort of things, like monolithic cyclopean figures, and like a giant amorphous blob floating in midair, like a polypus mass floating in midair. And they were scared of the flying mass of polypus thing, but it wasn't even statted out. It was just there, because it didn't matter how much they walked, it always appeared to be at the same distance. Because, Cthulhuoid things and Lovecraftian horror. I like Lovecraftian horror, it's fun. But then, they're scared of the whole area, and there's actually where they had the final boss, and the final boss was an ancient elf, a common ancestor of the city elf, the wood elf, and the drow. The common ancestor of them. And the players, they diplomacy the F out of him. I'm like, okay, that's cool. They chose diplomacy. One of them wanted to kill the guy. Almost died himself because the other players didn't want to fight. I was like, we don't want to fight him. The guy's willing to talk. Let's talk it out. And the guy just give me a reason why I should help you. We're gonna kill the guy that bound you, and after that you're free. Well, okay. Hey, roll your diplomacy. You succeeded. Okay. The guy didn't care. Like, the guy was hard on a Sunday, I swear. But the guy didn't care because he was eternal. He told them, you know what? I can just outlive the guy anyways. I don't really care. But if you can do it faster, I haven't had wine in so long. I haven't had good food in so long, and I would like to get out of here just to get good food. They actually went, oh yeah, that's how they convinced him. They actually went out of the area, they got really good food, they brought it to him and they gave it to him. And it was like, you know what, you gave me good food, go kill the guy, I don't care. I'll, you know. I remember that I had that in my notes and they actually, you know, followed through and they actually gave the guy food. But that guy was supposed to be a very tough fight because he was supposed to represent an ancient evil. Chaotic evil in the sense that he does whatever he wants. He has no real rhyme or reason. He doesn't have a cause that he wants to do. He's just a monster. He just wants to destroy for the sake of destroying. But then they went to the bard, and again they're expecting this epic climactic battle against a ancient and powerful wizard, the Black Warlock, that they dubbed. The fight starts, the guy looks unprepared and surprised they're there. I told him, he is surprised you guys are here. Does he look unprepared? He looks extremely unprepared. And they're celebrating because they think, ah yeah, we caught him off guard. The guy wasn't at full HP. Because I took away a bit of HP because of him botching a couple of spells. He only had one spell, and it was a fireball that he prepared. Even though bards don't get fireball, the spell book taught him fireball. But that's all he had left, because he had used all his other spells to summon more monsters. And the monsters he had already summoned, he had summoned them outside. He didn't have any guards. So it was a 3-on-1 fight. They were level 15, I think. He was a level 17 bard. And that was it. He buffed himself with bardic music. He cast fireball. And the fireball even didn't deal 17 points of... It didn't even deal... the fireball only dealt 10d6, because that's the most the fireball can deal. And I'm like, oh, he cast fireball. And they're all like, oh, crap. If you made the save, 32 points of damage. If you didn't make... If you made the save, 16 points of damage. If you didn't make the save, 32 points of damage. And they're like... We were expecting more. And I'm like, Then they fight him. They deal a crap ton of damage on the guy, because his AC wasn't that high either. And then he goes to fight one-on-one the Slayer that was in the team. And he's like, oh, I prepare myself. And he's like, he feints you. Like, okay, he feints me. I lose my dexterity bonus. And his dexterity bonus was pretty high. He attacks you with his rapier. And he deals 16 points of damage, because he dealt sneak attack. But it's not that much. And he looks at me like, really? That's all he did? And I'm like, yeah. You take damage. And it was like, we attack him. Then the next round he dies. Like, the guy got 2 attacks in and that was it. Then he died. He died in the second round of combat. Yeah. Because the guy won initiative. Because I made it appear like it was very menacing. Like, he got initiative. You know, the other guys had a high initiative, but no, this guy had higher initiative. I mean, I botched it. I rolled, but I said he got a 20, whatever. Because I wanted him to go first. You know, fireball, boom. But, you know, he still looks unprepared. But they think, you know, we got the drop on him, but he's very powerful because he got 1 initiative. And he threw a fireball, but it didn't deal that much damage. And then, instead of using another spell, he attacks with his rapier, and it doesn't deal that much damage either. What's going on? And the players were confused, and then he dies. And, while this was happening, the teacher... The teacher of the bard appeared, and he started fighting the book, because the book grew arms and legs, and it tried to absorb the bard, and the bard just threw it because he freaked out. You know, the bard was like, ah! He freaked out that the book was trying to absorb him, because it started to absorb him, and they're like, oh, this is the true final battle. You know, we're gonna fight the bard, the evil warlock combined with the book. But no, the bard just threw it away because he freaked out. A truly evil person would have said, yes, absorb me and we can smite our foes together. I've been speaking a lot today. Damn. So yeah, they're expecting that big bombastic battle against an amalgamation between the evil warlock, the dark warlock, and the Necronomicon. But no, since the bard didn't know what was happening, he just threw the book away because he freaked out. Then his teacher is fighting the book, and the bard is fighting them. The bard dies. They make sure he's dead. And then the teacher has the book, he's subdued it, and one of the players says, oh, man, no. This was too easy. This was too easy. That something's gonna happen. The other players start saying it too. Something's gonna happen. This is way too easy. And then the teacher says, now I have the book and they're like, oh, I knew it. We're gonna fight him. We have to fight the teacher now. This is bullcrap. And now I'm going to destroy the book. Thanks for helping me out. And he gives each one a sack of gold. And they're like, what? And the teacher says, yeah, I told you, if you help me defeat my pupil and get the book back, I'm going to pay you. I'm gonna pay 10,000 gold pieces to each of you. So all of them got 10,000 gold pieces. It's like, whoa, we got, pay dirt. It's the biggest pay we've had the whole campaign. 10,000 gold pieces each. And they're like, so you don't want to fight us, conquer the world or anything? It's like, no. I wanted to destroy that book because that book is way too evil. Should have fallen into the hands of any mortal or anybody at that point, and I wanted to put my pupil in his place. But I see you already did it, so you have your pay, and I'm outie. And he teleported out, and that was it. so there you have you have the what was the name of it? Excuse me while I find in this book, Creating Villains, the Misguided Fool. There you have it. That was the Misguided Fool I have. He was an idiot. He wasn't prepared. He didn't know what he was doing. The players loved it. It's just so you know that you don't have to make a really big bombastic villain. Somebody, like Hope Raper, the Destroyer of Worlds, or anything like that, You don't have to kill the players' parents for them to really remember a villain. Because this villain played around with the players' emotions, but he did it in a very accidental way. Because once he took over an adventure, a very powerful adventure, and put him in a place so the players could... No. The players were investigating an area, and then they left. And they left there the husband of one of the characters. And that day, the Black Warlock was just walking there. He saw the guy, took control of him, and then kept on walking. They didn't tell him to come with him, just control him and just, let him run free to see what would happen. And then he left. The players eventually fought the husband of one of the characters. He was all suited up because he was like a proto-vigilante. Like, I had the vigilante class before the vigilante class was actually a thing, surprisingly enough. And they fought him, and they found that it was the husband, and they were, that damn Black Warlock, he took control of my husband. But in reality, it was just that, wrong place at the wrong time. And that was almost everything. Like, the Black Warlock, eventually, he found out that the players were afraid of him. So he teleported once in front of them and took the corpses of two of their friends. And he was like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? None of them rolled sense motive, but I had already, I had his intimidate already set up, and he just teleported away. But if they had rolled sense motive and they had rolled good, and they had rolled well, because this is a bard, he's made for social things. But if they had rolled well, they would have known that the guy is scared of them at that moment. But he just took them and teleported away, and then combined them into one monster. But it was fun because, again, the players were afraid of the guy. They didn't know what the guy was capable of, but in reality, the guy was just an idiot. He was a bumbling fool that just came on to a lot of power, suddenly didn't know what to do with it, and he just, went on with whatever the book suggested. The book itself didn't have any real goals. It was pseudo-intelligent. It wasn't really an intelligent item, but it was pseudo-intelligent. Meaning it It was intelligent, but it didn't have an overarching goal set up. Because the book just was like, oh yeah, keep using me, keep using me, keep using me, keep using me. Because the more you use me, the more power I'm gonna get. The bigger I'm gonna get, the more pages I'm gonna get. The more you use me. But that was it. Because the book I didn't have anything planned for the book because the book wasn't the center of it. You know, yeah, the book was the one that didn't control, but like guided the bard to do all those evil things. But that wasn't the focus of the campaign. The focus was the bumbling idiot that came into power. So you know, you don't have to have an evil warlord. You can just have an idiot that doesn't know what he's doing and he's just going along with it because he thinks it's cool. That's the misguided fool, and that's a villain that I want to see more of. Let me know in the comment section below. Have you ever used a misguided fool as a game master? Have you ever, I don't know, encountered a misguided fool in a game that you've played? That I'd love to read your comments and I love to read your thoughts about it. Because to me, I think it's really fun. I want to use a misguided fool again, but I don't want to make it for my next game. Because the last game was the misguided fool. But eventually in the future, I want to make another one like that. Because the faces of the players when they killed the final boss in two turns was amazing. I loved the reaction. It was once in a lifetime thing, and I'm probably gonna, in the next few episodes, I'm probably gonna talk about the other types of villains that I've done and what they did. But man, the misguided fool was just so much fun because I was having fun. It's like, yeah, you killed him. It's hilarious because you thought he was powerful, but the guy's just 2 levels above you, and he's a bard, and he didn't have any spells anymore. Just one fireball, and that was it. Oh man, it's just like, dude, you really played us. You really played us, and I'm like, yep, that was the idea. You guys are used to me running really big, epic games. The game was big and epic, but you're also used to me running big, epic final fights. But this one wasn't. It was underwhelming. It was underwhelming and anticlimactic, and that's what I wanted to go for. I asked them, did the fight feel underwhelming? Yeah. Was it anticlimactic? Yeah. Good. Because that's what I wanted to go for. I wanted you guys to have that feeling of, that was it? And I'm like, yes, because you hate this guy. You hate him to all heck. You are afraid of him, but then when he gets his just desserts, you all realize that you're way better than him. That's feeling that this guy that we have hated for so long, he was just a pipsqueak, and we killed him so easily. It's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling. And they end up, you know, they left the game, you know, with very satisfied that the guy wasn't really a big of an issue and that they killed him that easily, even after all the headaches he gave them. So that was fun. Thanks for liking the video, thanks for sharing the video, and thanks for subscribing. And guys, remember, rule number 1, always have fun.